Okay, so last night Clay and I watched Turbo. Clay was actively dreading this movie. He's like, I've already seen it. I don't like it. I think it's terrible. I hadn't seen it. I would not say I was optimistic. I would not say I was cautiously optimistic. But I was like, it's probably not going to be that bad. It'll probably be fine, maybe a bit mediocre. And I was right. It's a D-tier movie. It's a very cliche movie. Within the first, 5 minutes, okay, I can already tell who the bad guy's going to be. I can pretty much tell the movie is going to end. This is very, very standard. Especially coming off something like Rise of the Guardians 2 movies ago, which was a really creative idea. And like I said, I've got my problems with the movie. There's some things that didn't quite add up. But the animation is gorgeous, and the imagination is just so... the imagination is so consistent, and it's just pleasant that I really enjoyed it. And the crew, it's this is the kind of movie I've seen before, but I feel like this is a genuinely interesting take on it. The overprotective, annoying dad, but he's a caveman who is genuinely concerned for the safety of his family because in the world they live in, they kind of have to be. I did like that take on it. Although, again, there's other things in the movie I didn't care for as much. I thought it was overall pretty okay. This is the kind of okay where I'm like, you're not giving me a whole lot else. You're not actively bad. I wasn't actively cringing at a lot of the humor, oh my god, we're doing this with the plot. It was just kind of oh, okay, so we are doing this. Okay, so we are doing this. It's fine. It's fine. I really like the voice cast. Samuel L. Jackson is in the movie, and he has one of the only lines I really liked. Where Turbo has what are you, crazy? What made you think I was sane? I actually really like that line. Snoop Dogg is in the movie, and I just like Snoop Dogg. It's just his cadence is always just so cool, so soothing. So even if he's not really saying anything that cool or that funny, I'm just happy he's there. The scene that got the biggest laugh out of me, I think Paul Giamatti had a couple lines that I enjoyed too. A woman who's they're always making fun of me. I mean, with the shit you do, you're basically asking for them to bully you. It was that was pretty funny. Well, one that got the biggest line out of me is one of the other snails is played by Ben Schwartz, which is a voice I know immediately as soon as I hear it. Thank you, Dewey Duck. Thank you, Sonic the Hedgehog. And after they're hey, garden snail, what's your name? Turbo. To which Ben Schwartz replies, oh, I wish I could change my name. The reason I laughed really hard at that line is not because it is a line that is inherently really funny, but because in the reboot of Ducktales that came out a few years ago, which I love, there is an episode where when Della Duck comes home from the moon, I mean, it's a pretty big spoiler, probably should have said something there, but I feel like if you're at all familiar with that show, that's probably one of the things that you would know is that, yeah, their mom is a major character, and halfway through season 2, she ends up coming home. Sorry, I'll make sure to put in the description, there's a spoiler for season 2 of DuckTales. But, she comes back from the moon, and she meets her kids. She's like, look, it's my 3 sons, Jet, Rebel, and Turbo. And those aren't our names. Donald named us, Huey, or what is Huey's name? Maybe it is, Hubert, that's it. It's Hubert, Duford, and Llewellyn. So known as Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And then Della's really bad. She's like, no, that's not actually what you were supposed to be called. Donald fucked up. It's probably because no one could actually understand him. Oh my goodness. And Dewey, realizing that he could have been named Turbo, is really, really mad that he got the wrong name. So hearing the same voice in another movie, or another work of fiction, hearing the name Turbo and lamenting his status, made me laugh really hard. Again, less because the joke was really funny, and more because it reminded me of something that I really like. But, there's really nothing else to say about it. It's aggressively fine. I can't even say that. It's just aggressively mediocre. I didn't think it looked that good. It's not that it actively looked bad. But it was one of those DreamWorks movies where the human characters don't look quite right. They don't look awful by any means. I think they looked fine in the Croods, but here I was I don't know what it is. They just look a little off. I liked the human characters just fine. Like, Tito, I think, was the name of the main guy. I actually kind of like him. But again, it is that very generic, cliched story. I didn't think they did anything super unique with it, aside from, look, it's about a snail wanting to race the Indy 500. Which, as soon as I hear the words Indy 500, immediately my brain, again, goes to a movie I like a lot more. To The Brave Little Toaster, where they're in the dump scene, which is my favorite part of the movie. That should have stuck with me for decades. And one of the cars is the line of his verse, I once ran the Indy 500. I must confess I'm impressed that I made it. I wonder how close that I came. And now I get a sinking sensation. As he's like sinking into the thing, I'm like, I love that shit. But as soon as I'm hearing the Indy 500, I'm like, oh, now I'm just thinking of a way better movie. Hey, we got this one funny joke because it's funny from something else. And now I wish I was just watching Ducktales. It's not actively bad. It's really not. It's by no means an F-tier movie. At this point, DreamWorks does not have one. Shark Tale would be if I didn't come to that realization of how, wait a second, this is actually a really accurate look at modern internet culture. I kind of have to give it its love and respect for that. Aside from that, Shark Tale would be the bottom of the fucking barrel, but it's not. I didn't like Spirit. I didn't like Flushed Away, but I don't think either of those are F-tier movies, and I mean, neither is this. But there's still some that could happen. I have no idea what to expect from either Boss Baby movie. I'm not expecting good things, but I could be surprised. I've heard the Spirit sequel is awful, and like I said, I already don't like the first one. But honestly, I feel like Spirit would be fine without as I said in the review, I'd like it a lot more if it wasn't for the Matt Damon narration, which is just, hey, I know what you're watching, but let me explain to you exactly what you're watching in the most bored, deadpan tone possible, so it just sounds like I'm talking down to you. If there's a cut of the movie without that, I think the movie would be a lot better. I don't know if I'd be like, whoa, I love this movie now, but I'd be like, all right, this is a definite improvement. This is now, I would say, a good movie to me. Rather than just, boy, I'm not vibing with this. But that's really it. That's Turbo.